Welcome back to our channel where we uncover the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Today we are going to dive deep into the history, the details, the background, and the current market value of one very special coin, the 1981 D Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin, a coin that looks simple at first glance but hides an incredible story and is today valued at $49,653. Let us begin by looking at the origins of the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter was first introduced in the year 1932. It was created to honor the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, the first President of the United States. The original design was crafted by John Flanagan, a sculptor who won the competition to design the new quarter. The front or obverse of the coin featured a profile of George Washington, while the back or reverse featured an image of an eagle with wings spread wide. That design became iconic and stayed on the quarter for decades. Now, by the year 1981, the Washington quarter had already been in circulation for nearly 50 years. The coin had become a part of everyday life in America. Whether you were buying groceries, parking a car at a meter, or using a vending machine, the Washington quarter was there. The Denver Mint, one of the main facilities of the United States Mint, produced millions of these coins each year, and in 1981, it struck a huge number of quarters with the D Mint mark to indicate their origin. But what makes the 1981 D Washington quarter so unique? Why would one of these coins be valued at such an astonishing price of over $49,000? The answer lies in the details of the coin, its rarity, and the condition of certain surviving examples. When we talk about coin collecting, one of the most important factors is mintage. The Denver Mint in 1981 produced over 500 million quarters. However, not all coins are created equal. Even in large mintages, small variations, errors, or rare preserved conditions can transform an ordinary coin into a treasure. For the 1981 D quarter, there are examples that were struck with sharp details, perfect surfaces, and preserved in mint state condition without scratches, or where collectors value these pieces highly, especially when they are graded by professional grading services. Another factor is the transition in coinage during this era. By 1981, the United States had long abandoned silver quarters and was minting coins made of copper nickel clad. Yet, even without silver, the Washington quarters of the early 80s have become desirable to collectors because of their history and the high grades that are rarely seen. For the 1981 D coin, those rare, flawless specimens stand out in auctions and attract competitive bidding. The design itself still carries John Flanagan's original portrait of George Washington. On the obverse, the word Liberty is inscribed above Washington's head. The date 1981 appears below his neck, and to the left is the famous phrase, "In God We Trust." On the reverse, the eagle stands proudly with wings spread over a bundle of arrows with olive branches below. This powerful symbolism represents both strength and peace. On the lower rim, we see the denomination of the coin inscribed as $quarter. The D Mint mark for Denver appears to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse, making it distinct from other mints such as Philadelphia or San Francisco. Now let us move into the story of value. How did a coin that millions of people once carried in their pockets become worth over $49,000 in the current market? The secret lies in the numismatic market, where rarity, condition, and demand intersect. Most 1981 D quarters that you find today are only worth their face value of 25 cents. If you search through loose change, you might find one, and it would not be worth more than a quarter. However, if you discover a coin in exceptional condition, perhaps one that was never circulated or preserved directly from mint sets, its value skyrockets. Professional coin grading service known as PCGS or Numismatic Guarantee Company (NGC) grade these coins on a scale from 1 to 70. Coins that reach grades like Mint State 67 or Mint State 68 are extremely rare. For the 1981 D Washington quarter, the highest known grades are few in number, and these coins have set records at auction. Imagine a collector who has spent years building a perfect set of Washington quarters when they come across a high-grade 1981 D example. They know it is not easy to find, and they are willing to pay a premium. That competition among collectors pushes the price up, and in some cases sales have reached values as high as $49,653. Another fascinating element about the 1981 D quarter is the presence of varieties and errors. While not every quarter has an error, there are examples of coins with double dies, mis-strikes, or off-center strikes. These mistakes during minting create unique coins that are one-of-a-kind. Collectors love error coins because they add a layer of mystery and rarity. When such an error combines with high-grade condition, the value becomes extraordinary. It is important to understand that coin collecting is more than just money. It is about history, art, and heritage. The 1981 D Washington quarter connects us back to the early years of the 1980s, a time of economic challenges, technological growth, and cultural change in America. People often overlook the coins in their pockets, but each one tells a story and represents the work of the United States Mint in producing billions of pieces that pass through countless hands. Now let us imagine for a moment finding a pristine 1981 D quarter. You might hold it under the light and see the sharp details on Washington's profile. The smooth luster shines back at you like a mirror, and you notice not a single scratch or blemish. For an ordinary person it might look like any quarter, but to a trained numismatist it could be the key to unlocking tens of thousands of dollars. This is why collectors spend time searching through coin rolls, checking coin sets, and even attending estate sales, because hidden treasures like this are still out there. The journey of this coin from ordinary circulation to extraordinary value also reminds us of the importance of grading, certification, and preservation. If you think you have a valuable coin, the best step is to submit it to a professional grading service. They will authenticate it, verify its condition, and assign it a grade which gives collectors confidence in its worth. This process is what allows coins like the 1981 D Washington quarter to achieve such high prices in auctions. We should also reflect on how market value changes over time. In earlier years, the 1981 D quarter might have only fetched a few $100s at best, but as collectors began to appreciate the rarity of high-grade examples, the value kept increasing. Auctions over the last 2 decades have pushed the price higher and higher, and today one of the finest examples holds a market value of $49,653. That is a life-changing amount of money for a single coin that started its life as just a simple quarter. So the next time you come across a Washington quarter, do not dismiss it without a glance. Look closely at the date, look for the mint mark, and consider the condition. Who knows, you might be holding onto a rare piece of American history worth far more than 25 cents. In conclusion, the 1981 D Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin stands as a shining example of how history, rarity, and condition converge to create immense value. From its roots in the legacy of George Washington to the work of the Denver Mint in 1981 to its current status as a numismatic treasure worth over $49,000, this coin continues to fascinate collectors and remind us that sometimes the most ordinary objects can hold the greatest stories. Thank you for joining us on this deep exploration of the 1981 D Washington quarter. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more coin stories and numismatic journeys. Until next time, keep searching your change, keep learning about history, and keep collecting, because the next great treasure could be in your very own hands. Welcome back to the channel. Today we will dive deep into the fascinating world of American coins, and in particular one coin that has sparked the interest of collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike, the 1980 D Mint Mark 5-cent Jefferson nickel coin. This coin may seem like just another piece of pocket change to the casual observer, but in reality its history, design, and current market value tell us a much larger story about American currency and the culture surrounding coin collecting. Let us begin with the foundation of the Jefferson nickel itself. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel. The United States Mint wanted a fresh design that would honor one of America's most influential presidents, Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson was not only the third president of the United States, but also the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, a diplomat, an inventor, and a scholar. His legacy is immense, and the decision to place his image on the nickel was a way of recognizing his profound contributions to the nation. The design was created by sculptor Felix Schlag. Schlag won a competition held by the Mint, and his vision gave us the portrait of Jefferson on the obverse side and Monticello, his home in Virginia, on the reverse side. The design would go on to become one of the most recognizable pieces of coinage in America, and although some changes have been made over the years, especially in the 2000 era, the 1980 D nickel still carried this classic and traditional Jefferson design. Now let us focus on the year 1980 itself. By this time, the Jefferson nickel had already been in circulation for over 40 years. It had weathered through World War II, during which silver and other metals were temporarily used in nickels due to wartime shortages. It had witnessed the prosperity of the post-war era, and it had seen the turbulence of the 1960s and 1970s. By the 1980s, the nickel was firmly established as a cornerstone of American pocket change. The 1980 mint mark refers to coins that were struck at the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint has a long and important history. It was established during the Colorado Gold Rush era, and by the late 20th century it was one of the primary facilities producing billions of coins for circulation. The D mint mark beneath the date on the coin is the key indicator of its Denver origin. In 1980, millions upon millions of Jefferson nickels were produced at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, making the nickel a common coin. But here is where things get very interesting. While most of these coins were used in daily commerce, a small number of them survived in extraordinary condition. Some coins were struck with sharper details on fresh dies, and a few were saved almost immediately after minting, avoiding the wear and tear of circulation. These high-grade examples are what make collectors' eyes light up today. Collectors often grade coins on a scale that ranges from poor condition to mint state. Mint state coins are those that show no signs of wear, and instead appear as they did when they left the mint. In the case of the 1980 Jefferson nickel coins that are preserved in mint state condition, especially those graded MS-67 or higher, are incredibly scarce. The rarity at these top levels creates tremendous demand in the coin market. So why would someone pay tens of thousands of dollars for what seems to be just a 5-cent coin? The answer lies in the principle of rarity, condition, and demand. Coins in pristine condition are like time capsules. They capture the artistry of the mint, as if frozen in 1980, and when supply is extremely limited, collectors with deep pockets are willing to bid aggressively to secure these coins. Let us pause for a moment and imagine finding one of these nickels in an old jar in your attic, or inside a roll of nickels from the bank. At first glance it looks like just any other Jefferson nickel, but under closer inspection it gleams with sharp details, unblemished surfaces, and perfect luster. That is the type of discovery that makes coin collecting such an exciting adventure. Every collector dreams of finding one of these hidden gems, and that dream keeps the market alive and thriving. The current market value for a 1980 Jefferson nickel in average circulated condition is very low, just a few cents over face value. However, the story changes completely for rare high-grade examples. Auction records have shown that a superb mint state specimen can reach values that seem unbelievable. One such coin has been recorded at a staggering market value of $70,892. This price is not random. It reflects the fierce competition among top collectors who want only the very best examples in their collections. The $70,000 price tag transforms this ordinary nickel into a numismatic treasure. It serves as a reminder that hidden wealth can be found in the most unexpected places in coin collecting. This concept is called a condition rarity, meaning that while the coin itself is not rare, the survival of examples in flawless condition is what creates astronomical values. Now let us go deeper into the numismatic culture that surrounds coins like the 1980 nickel. Coin collecting, often called the hobby of kings, has been around for centuries, but in America it gained enormous popularity in the 19th and 20th centuries. Collectors pursue coins for their historical significance, their design, beauty, their rarity, and their investment potential. A coin like the 1980 Jefferson nickel embodies all of these traits. It has history through Jefferson and Monticello, it has artistry through Felix Schlag's design, it has rarity in mint state condition, and it has the potential to bring financial reward to those who find or hold it. Another important aspect to consider is how grading companies influence the market. Professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC have standardized the way coins are evaluated. When a 1980 nickel receives a top grade from one of these companies, it immediately increases its credibility and value. A coin graded MS-67 or higher is not just a 5-cent piece anymore, it becomes a certified collectible that can command serious money at auction. Let us also talk about the metal composition. The Jefferson nickel has been made of a copper-nickel alloy since its introduction in 1938, except during the war years of 1942 to 1945 when silver was used due to wartime shortages. The 1980 nickel is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. The nickel content gives the coin its familiar silvery appearance, while the copper provides durability. These coins were made to withstand circulation, but ironically it is their survival in unused condition that makes them valuable today. Now some viewers might wonder whether it is still possible to find a valuable 1980 nickel in circulation. The answer is technically yes, but the odds are incredibly slim. After decades of use, most coins from 1980 show significant where, making them worth only face value. Nevertheless, coin roll hunters and collectors still search through rolls of nickels in hopes of discovering a high-grade survivor. The thrill of the hunt keeps the hobby alive. To add more perspective, think about this: if you walked into a store in 1980 with $1, you could receive 20 Jefferson nickels and change. Fast forward to today, and among those 20 nickels, one might hold the potential to be worth over $70,000. That is the magic of numismatics, ordinary coins becoming extraordinary through rarity, condition, and collector demand. The story of the 1980 D. Jefferson nickel also reflects the larger story of America. In the 1980s, the nation was going through significant changes politically, socially, and economically. Inflation had affected the value of money, and coins remained an everyday part of commerce. The Jefferson nickel was a silent witness to these changes passing through millions of hands, while only a few select examples were destined to become rare treasures. Collectors today often share stories of their first big discovery, perhaps a rare penny in pocket change or a valuable nickel in a coin roll. These stories inspire new generations to look closely at the coins they handle every day. Who knows, maybe you too could be the next person to discover a 1980 D nickel in pristine condition. The lesson here is that history is not just found in museums or textbooks, it can be found in your own pocket. Your coins are storytellers, each one carrying the weight of the past and the possibility of future value. The 1980 D. Jefferson nickel is proof of that. It bridges the gap between ordinary currency and extraordinary collectible. So to summarize, the 1980 D. mint marked Jefferson nickel began as just another coin produced by the Denver Mint in massive numbers, but over time its story has grown into something far greater. While most of these nickels are worth only 5 cents, a tiny number of them, preserved in flawless condition, have achieved legendary status, selling for upwards of $70,892. This incredible value is a result of rarity, demand, and the timeless allure of collecting. As we close this deep dive, remember to always check your change, look at the dates and mint marks, study the condition, and never underestimate the humble nickel, for within it lies the potential for history, beauty, and perhaps even a small fortune. Thank you for watching this video on the remarkable 1980 D. Jefferson nickel. If you enjoyed this story of coin history and hidden value, be sure to subscribe, like, and share, because there are countless more coins with fascinating tales waiting to be uncovered. Until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and keep collecting. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to dive deep into the history and the fascinating story of the 1989 P mint mark 5-cent Jefferson nickel coin. This is not just an ordinary nickel that you may find in your pocket change. This is a coin that carries a story of American history, design, artistry, and rarity, and for some collectors it is believed to have an astonishing current market value of $67,931. To understand the importance of the 1989 P mint mark nickel, we first need to look at the origins of the Jefferson nickel itself. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, which had been in circulation since 1913. The new design honored Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. The portrait on the obverse side of the coin featured Jefferson facing left, while the reverse displayed his famous home Monticello, located in Virginia. The designer of the Jefferson nickel was Felix Schlag, who won a design competition held by the United States Mint. Schlag's design was selected because it represented both the dignity of Jefferson and the architectural beauty of Monticello. Although the Mint requested some modifications before the final version was struck, the Jefferson nickel design went into circulation in late 1938, and it remained virtually unchanged for decades. Now fast forward to 1989, a year filled with important events around the world and within the United States. In American coinage history, 1989 was significant because of continued production at the Philadelphia Mint, which is identified by the P mint mark. Since 1980, the Philadelphia Mint began placing the P mint mark on most denominations, including the Jefferson nickel. So when we refer to a 1989 P mint mark nickel, we are specifically talking about a coin that was struck in Philadelphia during that year. The mintage numbers for 1989 were very high, because the Jefferson nickel was a workhorse coin used daily by millions of Americans. According to Mint reports, more than 700 million nickels were produced at Philadelphia alone in 1989. When you hear numbers like that, it may sound like the coins would never be rare, but rarity in numismatics is not always about low mintages. Sometimes rarity comes from unusual errors, from pristine condition examples, from special die varieties, or from coins that survived in ways that make them unique. For The 1989p nickel collectors often search for coins that are in mint state condition graded by professional services at MS65, MS66 or higher. These grades indicate coins that have never been circulated and that maintain their original mint luster and sharp details without scratches, or where such nickels can fetch impressive values because while billions were struck, very few survive in such pristine condition. Imagine sorting through thousands of coins just to find one without bag marks or contact scratches. This is what makes gem examples highly desirable. The current reported market value of a 1989p mint mark nickel in the most desirable grade has shocked many collectors. At the very top end, prices have been quoted at around $67,931. This figure may sound unbelievable, but in numismatic markets unusual and rare examples have been known to bring such high prices. For instance, if a coin is a full step designation, meaning the Monticello steps on the reverse are fully struck and visible without weakness, then that coin is especially rare. Full-step nickels are the crown jewel for Jefferson nickel collectors. It is important to understand what full steps mean. The reverse of the Jefferson nickel shows Monticello with a series of steps leading up to the front of the building. These steps are small details on the coin, and often the striking pressure at the mint was not strong enough to bring them out fully. A coin that shows 5 or 6 complete steps without interruptions is a full-step nickel. Collectors pay heavy premiums for these because they represent precision striking and rarity from years when most coins lack such detail. The 1989p full-step nickels are among the hardest to find, and this rarity drives their value to astronomical levels. When you examine a 1989p nickel under magnification, you may see that many coins show weak strikes, soft details, or bag marks from the minting process. This is normal for circulation coins, however. The very few that show full details, strong luster, and perfect preservation are those that reach the very top of the grading scale. The Professional Coin Grading Service (PCGS) and the Numismatic Guarantee Company (NGC) are the two most trusted grading services in the hobby, and both assign values based on rarity. Population reports and demand. Now let us look deeper into the history of the year 1989 in American coinage. The late 1980s were a period of transition for the mint. In 1989, the mint was modernizing equipment and preparing for the introduction of new coin programs that would appear in the next decade, including the state quarters in 1999. But the Jefferson nickel remained a staple of the economy and was still being produced in massive numbers. The Philadelphia Mint was one of the busiest facilities, producing millions of coins daily. The simple 5-cent piece might not have been glamorous, but it carried with it decades of tradition. Collectors today often ask, why would anyone pay nearly $70,000 for a nickel that was made just a few decades ago? The answer lies in the intersection of rarity, demand, and condition. A collector building a registry set, meaning a complete collection of the finest known examples of each date and mint mark, will pay top dollar for the best specimen when there may only be 1 or 2 examples of a 1989p full-step nickel graded at MS60. 7 or higher. The competition among wealthy collectors can drive prices sky high. That is why some coins from ordinary years suddenly become millionaires' dream finds. The story of the 1989p nickel also teaches us about the importance of checking your pocket change. Every year stories emerge of ordinary people discovering coins worth thousands tucked away in jars, drawers, or inherited collections. While most 1989p nickels are only worth face value, there is always the slim chance that one perfect specimen exists unnoticed in a roll of nickels. The thrill of the hunt is what keeps collectors excited and passionate about this hobby. We should also consider the design changes that came later. In 2004 and 2005, the Jefferson nickel design was altered to commemorate the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition. Then in 2006, a new forward-facing portrait of Jefferson by Jamie Franke replaced the original Felix Schlag design. This means that the 1989p nickel belongs to the classic era of the original design, making it part of a long tradition from 1938 through 2003. Collectors of the classic design pay close attention to these years when discussing market value. We must also remember that coin prices can fluctuate just like stocks or real estate. The $67,931 figure represents the very peak sale for a top example in a rare condition. For most circulated coins, the value is just 5 cents. For uncirculated but average examples, the value may be a few dollars. For high-grade examples in MS65 or MS66, the value may reach into the hundreds or low thousands, but at the top end, for the absolute best of the best, the market can reach tens of thousands. Now let us imagine what it means to hold such a coin in your hands. A simple nickel struck in 1989 at the Philadelphia Mint, a coin passed over by millions of Americans without thought, yet in flawless condition, preserved perfectly with full steps, shining with its original luster. It transforms from common change into a treasure worth nearly $70,000. This is the magic of numismatics. The ordinary becomes extraordinary, the everyday becomes priceless. The 1989 nickel is therefore not just a coin but a symbol of how history, artistry, and rarity combine to create value. Collectors continue to search rolls, boxes, and old collections for that elusive gem. The hunt is never over. Every new discovery can shake the market, every new auction record can inspire more people to join the hobby. So next time you come across a Jefferson nickel, do not dismiss it so quickly. Take a closer look, check for the date and the mint mark, inspect the steps of Monticello. You never know when you might be holding a coin that could change your life. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the history and value of the 1989 mint mark Jefferson nickel, from its origins in the 1930s to its production in 1989 to its astonishing value today. This coin proves that even the most ordinary pocket change can hold secrets and surprises. Thank you for joining us in this journey through numismatic history. And remember, keep checking your change, because your next coin might just be worth $67,931. The year is 1977, and the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln 1-cent coins just like it had done for decades. But among those ordinary-looking coins there exists a rare and fascinating piece that collectors today believe can reach a value of $89,900. The 1977 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has become one of the most talked-about coins in American numismatic history, and in this video we will go on a long, detailed journey through its origins, its history, its significance, and why collectors today are willing to pay extraordinary amounts of money for a coin that many people still think of as just a simple penny. To understand the story of the 1977 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, we must first go back to the origins of the Lincoln penny itself. This coin was first struck in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the very first American coin to feature the portrait of a real historical person, and that made it revolutionary. For its time, the designer Victor David Brenner created the iconic image of Lincoln facing right with the motto "In God We Trust" above his head and liberty to the left of his profile. This design has now become one of the longest-running coin designs in the history of the United States Mint. Fast forward to the 1970s, and the Lincoln cent had already become a staple in every American household purse, pocket, and cash register. In 1977, the Mint produced pennies at 3 different locations: the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark, the Denver Mint, which used a D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint, which used an S mint mark primarily for proof coins. But in the world of coin collecting, the tiniest detail can make the largest difference, and that is exactly what happened with the 1977 no mint mark penny. At first glance, the 1977 penny looks like any other Lincoln cent of the era. It is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving it a distinct reddish-brown luster. When freshly struck, the weight is 3.11 grams and the diameter is 19 millimeters. For most people it was just pocket change, but for collectors the presence or absence of a mint mark could mean the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. The Philadelphia Mint traditionally did not place a mint mark on its coins before 1980, so technically every penny struck at Philadelphia in 1977 has no mint mark. However, in the world of numismatics, a certain class of no mint mark coins emerges when a coin that should have carried a mint mark does not. These kinds of errors are rare and extremely valuable. The best known examples are the 1922 no D Lincoln cent from the Denver Mint, or the 1982 no P Roosevelt dime from the Philadelphia Mint. The 1977 no mint mark Lincoln cent falls into this fascinating category. Now let us look at the historical significance of the 1977 no mint mark cent. During the 1970s, the United States Mint was dealing with economic pressures, inflation, and high demand for circulating coinage. The copper content of the penny was becoming more expensive, and discussions were already happening about whether to change its composition. The Mint still struck billions of copper cents in 1977, but only a tiny fraction of them carry the anomaly that numismatists describe as a true no mint mark error. What makes the 1977 no mint mark cent so exciting is that it is not just a regular Philadelphia issue but a coin that collectors believe came from a striking mistake at another facility that should have carried a mint mark. When these rare examples are authenticated by top grading services, they become some of the most desirable Lincoln cents ever discovered, with a backstory tied to American history, with the image of Abraham Lincoln on the front, and the wheat replaced memorial reverse design in use from 1959 onward. These coins represent the long and proud tradition of American coinage. The obverse of the 1977 penny still shows Lincoln's bust with Liberty on the left, and the year 1977 clearly struck beneath his chin. Above Lincoln's head is the motto "In God We Trust." The reverse depicts the Lincoln Memorial in sharp detail, with the words United States of America arching across the top, 1 cent boldly struck across the bottom, and E Pluribus Unum just above the memorial. For most 1977 pennies, this design is ordinary, but when a rare no mint mark variation is confirmed, the value skyrockets. Now we come to the heart of the story, the current market value of this coin. While most 1977 pennies are only worth their face value, collectors have recorded sales of rare no mint mark examples that reach into astonishing figures. Some coins graded at the highest levels with perfect surfaces, sharp strikes, and bright original luster have been valued and traded at auction for as much as $89,900. This is an incredible jump from a penny that started as everyday change to one of the most desirable treasures in the world of coin collecting. Why do collectors pay such huge amounts for a penny? The answer lies in rarity, condition, demand, and the thrill of owning something that very few people on earth can possess. The numismatic community is built upon passion for history, art, rarity, and value, and the 1977 no mint mark penny checks all of those boxes. When a coin is known to exist only in very limited numbers, and when it is tied to one of the most beloved coin series in United States history, the demand far outweighs the supply, and that drives the price to incredible heights. Over the years, coin grading companies like PCGS and NGC have played a huge role in authenticating and protecting these rare examples. Collectors who own a 1977 no mint mark penny in high grade will almost always send it in to be graded, sealed, and certified, because once it is in a tamper-proof holder with a recognized grade, it becomes not only a coin but an investment asset that can command tens of thousands of dollars at major auctions. The story of the 1977 penny also highlights the importance of checking your pocket change. Many collectors love to share stories of finding rare and valuable coins in circulation. Someone may look through a jar of old pennies and discover that one coin has something unusual about it, perhaps the absence of a mint mark where there should have been one, or a doubled die, or a striking error, and suddenly that coin is worth thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. The thrill of discovery continues to drive the hobby forward generation after generation. If you are searching for a 1977 no mint mark penny that could be worth tens of thousands, there are a few tips you should know. Always examine the date carefully. Look at the area where the mint mark would appear, which is just below the date. If the area is smooth, clean, and shows no sign of tampering, and if experts confirm that the coin is a genuine mint error, then you may have discovered something extraordinary. Condition is equally important. Coins with sharp details, no scratches, and original red or red-brown luster are far more valuable than coins that have been heavily circulated. Collectors today continue to watch auctions and private sales for examples of the 1977 no mint mark Lincoln cent. Every time one comes to market, it attracts a storm of attention from the numismatic community. Articles are written, discussions erupt, and values rise because demand continues to increase. Owning such a coin is not only about money, it is also about holding a piece of American history, a small copper disc that represents artistry, history, and the power of human fascination with rarity. As we move toward the close of this story, let us remember the journey of the humble penny. Introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln, it has passed through countless hands over more than a century. It has witnessed wars, economic changes, political transformations, and cultural revolutions, yet through all of that, the penny remains a cornerstone of American money, and in rare cases like the 1977 no mint mark cent, it becomes a legendary treasure worth more than luxury cars, houses, or gold bars. The lesson here is simple: always pay attention to your coins. What seems ordinary today might be extraordinary tomorrow. The 1977 no mint mark penny reminds us that even the smallest coin can carry the biggest story. It teaches us patience, dedication, and the thrill of discovery in the world of numismatics. So the next time you Find a penny from the 1970s in your pocket. Take a closer look. It could be the coin that changes your life forever, because while most are worth just 1 cent, the rare 1977 no mint mark penny has reached an astonishing market value of $89,900, making it one of the most valuable and celebrated coins of its generation. Welcome to today's video, where we take a deep dive into one of the most fascinating coins in modern United States history, the 1998 D-Mint Mark Lincoln 1 cent penny coin, a coin that at first glance may look like nothing more than a common penny resting in your pocket or hiding at the bottom of your change jar. But when you discover the full story of this coin, its background, its history, and its incredible market value, you will begin to see just why collectors across the country and around the world consider it to be one of the most valuable coins to ever leave the Denver Mint. Now, the story of the Lincoln 1 cent penny goes all the way back to 1909, when the coin was first introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of the birth of President Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. It was the first time in American history that the face of a real person appeared on a regularly circulating coin. Before that, the United States Mint had avoided putting actual presidents on coins, choosing instead to use symbolic figures like Lady Liberty. The decision to honor Abraham Lincoln with his portrait was met with great excitement, because Lincoln was one of the most beloved figures in American history, known for his leadership during the Civil War and for his dedication to freedom and equality. Over the years, the Lincoln penny went through several design changes, from the wheat reverse of 1909 through 1958 to the memorial reverse that was introduced in 1959 to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The memorial reverse depicted the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., designed by Frank Gasparo, and that design would continue all the way through 2008 before another redesign came into play. So where does the 1998 D penny come into the picture? In the year 1998, the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of 1 cent coins, each bearing the D Mint mark just below the date on the obverse side of the coin. These pennies were struck in copper-plated zinc, which had been the standard composition since 1982, when the mint changed from solid copper to a cheaper formula due to rising copper prices. The 1998 D penny was meant to be an ordinary coin, but as we so often see in the world of numismatics, what may appear ordinary can sometimes hide extraordinary secrets. The 1998 D penny has become famous among collectors not just because it represents a piece of history, but because of the rare errors and unique qualities that make certain examples incredibly valuable. Some of these coins were struck with remarkable precision, flaws, double dies, off-center strikes, or even die polishing lines that make them stand apart from the rest. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that millions of people have seen, yet only a tiny fraction were struck with the kinds of errors or unique attributes that turn them into treasures worth tens of thousands of dollars. Now let us look at the market value of the 1998 D penny. A regular circulated 1998 D penny is worth only a cent, perhaps a few cents if sold in bulk, but when you come across a high-grade specimen, especially those certified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, the story changes entirely. Coins that grade at the highest levels, such as Mint State 67 Red or Mint State 68 Red, have been known to sell for thousands of dollars at auction. The reason is simple: the higher the grade, the more lustrous the coin appears, the fewer the blemishes, and the more desirable it becomes to collectors. In fact, there are rare examples of the 1998 D penny that have been recorded selling for as much as $58,987, a staggering amount for a coin that the average person might overlook. This specific value comes from high-profile auction results where bidding wars between collectors push the price to unbelievable levels. The truth is, in coin collecting, rarity, condition, and demand all come together to decide the final price. When those three elements align, a single cent can become a life-changing discovery. To understand why collectors pay so much for this coin, let us talk a little more about coin grading and rarity. In the world of numismatics, grading is everything. A coin can be in good condition, very fine condition, extremely fine condition, or mint state. Mint state coins are coins that show nowhere and look almost exactly as they did the day they were struck. For a 1998 D penny to be valued near $60,000, it must be in the absolute top tier of mint state quality. This means that the surfaces are free of scratches, the luster is brilliant, and the strike is sharp. Collectors fight for coins like this because they represent the finest known examples of their kind. The Denver Mint itself also adds an interesting layer of history to this coin. Founded in 1906, the Denver Mint has long been one of the most productive mints in the United States, producing billions of coins every year. The D mint mark has become iconic in American numismatics and collectors. Around the world instantly recognize it as a symbol of coins struck in Denver. The 1998 penny is just one chapter in this long story, but it is one that continues to surprise and inspire collectors now. When it comes to collecting tips for anyone who wants to search for the 1998 penny in their own pocket change or coin rolls, here is what you should look for. First, always check the condition of the coin. Even if it looks ordinary at first glance, look closely at the luster and the surfaces. You may find a coin that appears better than average, and that is always a good sign. Second, watch for errors such as double die obverse or reverse off-center strikes or even slight misalignments that can drastically increase value. Third, consider sending your coin to a professional grading service if you believe it is in exceptional condition, because professional certification is what gives confidence to buyers when they are willing to pay top dollar. Another interesting fact about the 1998 penny is that this was the era just before the state quarter program began in 1999, which drew massive attention to coin collecting across the United States. Many collectors who were children in the late 1990s remember looking through their change for state quarters, and along the way many also came across pennies, nickels, and dimes that ended up sparking lifelong interest in numismatics. In a way, the 1998 penny stands at the crossroads between the older world of coin collecting and the modern era, when millions of Americans suddenly began to see coins as collectibles rather than just spending money. When you think about the idea of a penny being worth nearly $60,000, it is also important to reflect on the broader meaning of collecting. Coins like this remind us that history is not something far away in books, but something tangible that you can hold in your hand. Every coin tells a story of the time it was made, the technology of the mint, the economy of the country, and the people who used it. The 1998 penny carries with it the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, the tradition of the Denver Mint, and the modern era of coin collecting, all wrapped into one small copper-plated disc. Imagine for a moment finding one of these pennies in your pocket. Imagine going to the store, receiving change, and then looking closely at a penny only to discover it is one of the rarest known examples. That single moment could change your life. From having a penny worth 1 cent to having a treasure valued at $58,987. This is what makes the hobby of coin collecting so thrilling, the chance that any day an ordinary transaction could lead you to extraordinary fortune. As we come to the conclusion of this story, the key points to remember are these. The 1998 Lincoln penny was struck at the Denver Mint as part of the long-running Lincoln cent series. Its composition was copper-plated zinc, and its design featured the familiar bust of Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln memorial on the reverse. While billions were struck, only a handful exist in such pristine condition or with such unique characteristics that they reach sky-high auction prices. The highest of these values has been recorded at $58,987, a truly remarkable sum for a 1 cent coin. So if you are a collector or even someone who simply enjoys searching through spare change, keep your eyes open for this coin. You never know when history and fortune might be hiding in the palm of your hand. Thank you for joining me in this deep exploration of the 1998 mint mark Lincoln 1 cent penny coin, its rich history, its connection to Abraham Lincoln and the United States Mint, and its incredible current market value. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories from the world of rare coins and numismatics. Stay curious, stay passionate, and never stop searching, because treasures like these are always out there waiting to be discovered.